Hello everybody. Today is Monday, October 23rd, and I'm Amy Pagan. And this is Amy Pagan Art, and today we're going to make a Mexican free-tailed bat. Isn't he cute? Just want to boop him on his little nose. Okay, so before we get started, let's go through our regular stuff. Ready? I do this every Monday at noon. You can find these videos on Facebook and on YouTube. You can find additional content on my Instagram. For every single one of those spots, the name is Amy Pagan Art. These classes are completely free. Anybody is welcome to join, and everybody is welcome to leave questions in the comments section or request if there's stuff that you want to learn how to do, or you have a specific subject that you want us to paint or draw. And yeah, everyone of all ages is welcome, all skill levels. We'll walk it through. We break everything down into shapes and colors, and anybody can do this. And before we get started, we need to talk about why we do this. Why do we do this, y'all? Say it with me. To have fun. We're here to have fun. I do not want anybody to compare their work to others or to talk down to yourself or be frustrated, if it doesn't look like something that's going to be hanging next to a Monet. It doesn't need to be, y'all. This is just for fun. We're gonna have a good time. We're going to learn some techniques and start our week off with a relaxing art break. And I hope that that helps carry you through your week. I hope that you find time to do art every day, just a little bit, because it's relaxing and fun. Okay, so if you agree to that, you are going to have fun. You're going to be kind to yourself. Please give me a heart or a thumbs up, and then we'll get started. Since today's is pre-recorded, I am trusting that you will be kind to yourself and give me a thumbs up or a heart. And also, please say hi in the comments. I love hearing from y'all. So please say hi and tell me how you're doing. And when this is all done, I want you to take a picture and I want you to post it in the comments. If you are not feeling that brave, it is okay. Would you please send me a picture of the work that you have created? I would love to see it. It makes me happy and it makes me a better teacher. So please do send me your art. Okay, Mexican free-tail bat. Here's our supplies today. This paper is Canson 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. Do you have to use it? No, you do not. You guys use whatever you want. I like Canson. It's inexpensive for good quality watercolor paper. And yeah, and you can get, so each sheet, I bought like what do you call it? Like a pad of these. And I can get 4 little postcard sizes out of every sheet. This is a 4x6, which is the size of a postcard if you wanted to make a postcard for a friend. Okay, so I'm gonna get my new piece of paper. All right, 4x6, there it is. If you're using watercolor paper, you wanna have bumpy side up. If you're not using watercolor paper, don't you worry about it. All right, brushes. I'm gonna use my usual suspects. Okay, number 6, round synthetic bristle Princeton brush. That's what I'm using today. And that's my per usual one that we usually use. And you definitely do not have to use that one. That's one that I like. And then also for teeny tiny details, I have a Princeton, what size is this guy? Number 3. Somewhere around here I also have a number 1, but we'll use the number 3 today. And again, it's round and synthetic bristles. I like them. All right, you're going to want a number 2 pencil. I have one. And then if you feel like you're going to need an eraser, I highly recommend these. These are rubber erasers. Yeah, they kind of feel like Play-Doh, and they work really well and they don't ruin your paper. And this one has a nice little case so that it doesn't dry out. Okay, you can also use any colored pencils that you want, or crayons or markers, whatever. Totally up to y'all. Use what you got. The important thing is that you take a little art break for you. Okay, paints. Normally I use this guy, right? This is our blah, 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 blah. Art Philosophy, the classics. It's so awesome. It has all the colors that you need. And yeah, and it's available online and it's not very expensive. Okay, however, I'm gonna use a different palette today. You can still use your classic palette. I'm gonna use, this one's called Woodlands, and it has a lot of natural colors, and I use this one a lot when I'm doing my professional paintings of animals. So the only colors that I'm gonna be using out of here is this shadow, which is like it's almost black. It's a little bit lighter than black. And what is the other one I use? This Foxberry and this Sand Ridge. Okay, so if you're gonna use your regular color palette, what you wanna use, oops, pardon me. All right, is instead of using sandstone, I'm gonna have you use a brown, okay? So that one on this. This one's called Cocoa. So just use your brown, okay? Or your black, which is handily called black. And a little tiny bit of the red. So that's all, that's the only difference, and I will remind you when we get there. But I think these colors are more muted. They look kind of like more natural in nature kind of colors, so that's why I like them for doing animals. But again, you don't have to. All right, pencils first. Ready? Let's talk about our shapes. All right, little Mexican free-tailed bat has a head that is basically a thumbprint. So see this oval right here? That's his little head. We're gonna do an oval. And look, his little body, he's basically like a giant mango. Look at him. Actually, he's probably smaller than a mango in real life. He's definitely smaller than a mango in real life, but his body has a mango shape to it. We've got some triangles here for his wings. And if we look at the wing itself, it's almost like a big old rectangle, isn't it? And it's attached by another rectangle. Okay. Of course, we have little round eyes, and we have little triangle ears, and we have little ridiculous feet, which are adorable. And these are both, his little legs are like ovals. And then we're just gonna do some little spiky bits for his toesies. So don't worry, don't be intimidated by all the detail. We're gonna come back through and add in all these little fantastic details. We're gonna add little fur details on top and things like that. But don't worry about that first. Let's just break it down into shapes first, okay? All right, so we've got a little thumbprint sized head. We've got a little body, little mango body, which is 1 knuckle, 2 knuckles long. And then, so let's do those first. All right, thumbprint. Here's the middle of my page right here. Can you tell? Okay, there we go. And we're gonna be not quite in the middle. We're gonna say, here's the middle, and I'm gonna put my thumbprint up and to the right. So here we go, about a thumbprint size. Okay, little thumbprint head. Now, let's do a little mango body. So 2 knuckles long and about 1 knuckle wide, okay? So I'm not gonna start right here at the bottom of his little head. I'm gonna come up a little bit because he has shoulders, and I'm gonna do that mango. It's gonna be about 2 knuckles long and 1 knuckle wide. You'll notice this is at a bit of an angle, okay? So his little head is at an angle, like this, right? If we drew a little line right through it, it's at a bit of an angle, okay? And his little body is also at an angle. You see this angle? So he's kind of tilted, and we're doing that so that his wings can come out this way. It's just gonna look better on the page than if we had him straight up and down, but either way is fine, okay? All right, let's talk about his wingy things. Now, if we were gonna measure how tall they are, from his shoulder to the top of his wing is 2 knuckles, okay? And then his wings at the widest part are 2 knuckles long. So let's talk about how we're gonna do that. I want you to do a bit of a crescent shape, like a giant letter C. See that? So here's his little head. Here's where his head touches his shoulder. We're going to come down just a little bit, and we're going to do a letter C. I'm going to come to the opposite side of his body and do another letter C, but this time it's backwards. See that? Oh, and normally I tell y'all to be careful and make your lines much lighter than I'm making mine, so it doesn't interfere with your paint. But since our little bat guy is gray and black, it's really not going to matter that much today. Okay, so we have our C's. Forward facing C, backwards facing C, and now we're just going to do a line, and it's going to be 2 knuckles long. Now all of our other lines have been kind of tilted, right? This one's going to come straight across. So I'm starting it at the top of this C, and I'm just going to extend it about 2 knuckles long. Maybe a little further. Okay. Now, where this guy touches, we're going to do another line out, again, about 2 knuckles long. And do you see how it makes a big giant V? Okay, I want you to come down just a little bit. I'm going to say one little fingerprint's worth, and do another line. This line's kind of curved. It's not super curved, it's a little curved. And then we're going to attach them by doing little crescent moons. Ready? Backward C. From the tip of this one to the tip of that one, it's a backward C. And another backward C. We're not done yet, are we? No. I want you to give me a thumbprint's worth of space from this line. Make a thumbprint. Come up halfway. So this is your halfway point, right? If you look at this line from here to here, halfway. And then we're going to take this point and we're going to attach it to that one. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. Here's my backwards C, and this line is going to be at an angle. It's going to be like this. Ready? Watch what we do. About 2 knuckles long, we make a little line out. So from here to here, stretching to the side of the page, but not quite. We're leaving about a fingerprint's worth of space. Okay, and remember how we made a V? Same thing. Start from this same line, come down, and it's a V. We need one more. All right, and then we're going to say, I'm going to make a thumbprint's worth of space from this little part of his shoulder, thumbprint, come up halfway, and then I'm going to attach it from there with a little curvy line. And we're going to do an upside down crescent, an upside down crescent, and there we go. Okay, that's the biggest part. You got it done. It's okay if it's not perfect. Please remember that. It does not need to be perfect. Okay, now we need to put his little ears on, and they are fingerprint length. You see that? From the top of this little ear to down here. And what I'm going to do is come, this would be the center of his head. I want to come a little bit over, jog, jog, jog to the side, and I'm going to do curvy line and a curvy line. What shape do you see? That's right, it's that leaf that we do all the time. Okay, here's the center of his head. I'm going to move over just a little bit, and I'm going to do that leaf shape. And that's his little ears. Not too shabby, right, y'all? Okay. His little snoot. So they do have little snoots, almost like a fox. And kind of like when you look at their noses, they kind of look like pigs. So what I want you to do, here's his little head, okay? Come right down to the bottom of his little head, and I want you to draw a little circle. And that's going to be his little piggy-like snoot. It's going to be about the size of that round shape on the bottom of your eraser. So about the size of an eraser. Okay, that's where his little nose is going to be. And what we're going to do here, we're going to see how his head, we can divide that in half. I want you to connect his snoot to that half of his head with a triangle. So I'm going to make a little triangle. See how this is the half of, if we drew a line in the middle of his head, make a little triangle. And that's going to be important because it's going to help you place his eyes, and we're going to do some color differences. So right where that triangle touches the center of his head, I want you to make a little circle. That's one eyeball, and here's another little circle. That's his other eyeball. It looks like a lot of lines. We're going to get rid of some of those, but for right now, I just want you to leave it in because it will help you with adding in different shading. So you can see here where that happens. So that's like about the middle of his little baseball head, or football head, I guess it would be, not a baseball. Baseball is round. This is more football. You see his little eyes, his little snoot. So we're going to work on that, okay? Now we need 3 more things. We need his legs, that's 2 things, and then we need a little tail. All right, we're going to do some little sausage legs. So here's how we're going to space them out. We don't want to put them at the side of his body because that looks like he just went splat somewhere, right? If we had them like blah, out to the side. So we want to have, here is where his shoulder is. Follow the line down to the bottom of his little body. And I just want you to do a little oval there. Just a little oval. It's probably about the width of your pencil, and it's about as long as a little less than 1 knuckle. Same thing, follow this shoulder down. Here's his shoulder. There's his little leg. It's about as wide as your pencil, a little less than 1 knuckle long, and then we're just gonna do 4 little toesies. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just little lines. Little curvy lines. Ready? Little curvy line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I know I said 3 things because we need to add his tail, right? So his tail is, we're just gonna do a little curvy line, just a little crescent right there. So here's his leg. I'm gonna scooch up just a little bit and do a little curvy line. That's gonna be his tail. And he does need some fingers up here. You can just, we'll just say that 2 are showing. So just 2 little curvy lines. He has more fingers than that, but that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Hooray, you did it. That's the majority of our drawing. I know that was a lot, and I'm glad that you hung in there. Okay, so now we're gonna get to add in colors. Now when we start to add in our colors, I want you to notice something. Part of what makes his wings look so cool is that we have the lighter part here. You see that, where his little bones are? And then it's darker in the middle. So we're gonna keep that in mind when we're adding in our color. But the first thing we're gonna do, I want you to grab either your pencils or your markers or your crayons or your paints. And we are going to put in a nice wash of color first. So that's gonna be our base color to get him started. I have my paintbrush. I have it all nice and swirled in the water. It's not dripping, right? You don't want to have some drips on your veil. That'll ruin your paper. It won't really ruin it, but it'll make it harder. Okay, I'm going to use this gray. It's like a light black. If you do not have a gray, I want you to use your black, and we're just going to do a light wash of it. Okay, which means I'm going to start here on his little belly, and I'm just going to start putting this in. It's going to be lighter in color, and I'm going to go in the direction of his body. Right now, he really is going to look like a mango because we're not worrying about putting in any of that texture for his fur. I'm just going to just trace that line there for his little tail. We're not worried about that at all, okay? And then I'm just going to follow the shape of each wing. Now, I'm going to leave a little line. Remember how we talked about his little bones? I'm leaving a space. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to leave a little space. Just a little bit. And if you went over it, it's okay. We have other ways to make it light. But try to leave yourself a little space. See right here, I didn't go up all the way and I should have, but I'm not gonna worry about it. We can fix it later. Not worried at all. Okay. Just leaving some space so that he has little bones. And I want to leave some up there at the top too. If you didn't do that before, it's okay. We can make it work. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oops, you know what? I think I'm singing the Wizard of Oz song. How weird. Maybe because this makes me think of the flying monkeys. Those things always scared me. Okay, I'm just outlining here where his little shoulder would be. Did the flying monkeys scare y'all? Do you know what I'm talking about? I bet you do. All right, I'm just outlining. Outlining, outlining, outlining. He looks like he's wearing goggles right now, doesn't he? Little tiny goggles. Okay, if you have to turn your paper, I do that frequently. You do whatever you need to do to make it more comfortable. See how I'm leaving space there? More comfortable to paint or draw or whatever it is that you're doing. Oh, and then I have news for you guys. Stuff I have to tell you. Stuff and things. I'm just going to extend here a little bit. See right where we have the points? I'm just going to extend those just a little bit. It's a little more pointy. Okay, you'll notice I haven't done his face yet. When I do, I want to come down his little nose. I'm going to avoid his eyes, okay? And that is so that when we color in his eyes, we know exactly what we're doing. Okay, remember how we left this little triangle piece? I want you to keep that in mind and leave yourself some space. So this is just going to extend out a little bit. That's going to be fur. And that's right where we had that line in the middle of his little head, okay? Now we are going to fill that in more later, but for right now, just leave that. We're going to come back to it. Okay, and as far as his little ears, I want you just to come and do a little outline, okay? And we are going to fill in more of that, but for right now, just a little outline. Okay. I have so much I want to tell you. Okay, so this Thursday, we're going to let this dry a little bit. This Thursday, I am teaching a class up at the Art Center of Plano, and it is how to make sugar skulls and the traditions behind them. Oh, I didn't color his toes. Let's color his little toes. Yes, so if you're interested in that, it'll be this Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Art Center Plano in historic downtown Plano. That is a ticketed event. And to get tickets, just look at my Facebook or my Instagram, and I've got it plastered all over there. And then you can get a ticket and join me. And we'll have some snacky things and some beverages, and we'll all have a good time and talk while we are making skulls. And we'll talk about that whole tradition. If you've ever been freaked out by those, I know sometimes they look scary. It's not scary. It's actually a really sweet, nice tradition. So I hope that you can join me. Other things, I'm going to be at the Love of Art and Cars. I'm one of 3 artists that will be there. That again is at the Art Center. And there will be, you'll know what's going on because there will be Ferraris and Paganis and Lamborghinis all being shown. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. That is not a ticketed event. Anybody can come by and say hi, and I will be painting and hanging out with my art friends, and that includes y'all. You're my art friends, so come on by and say hi. Okay, we've got this drawing, and remember, of course, as always, please share your jokes and little facts in the comments section. I love hearing from you guys. And you always have fantastic jokes for me, as long as you know they're on topic. I wanted to tell y'all something. Okay, so I've always loved bats, and well, not always. I loved them starting when I went to college in Austin, which has the largest urban bat population in the whole world of Mexican free-tailed bats, and they live under the Congress Bridge. And I was just looking up the number of bats that are there. Let's see. Okay, there's an estimated 1,500,000 bats that live under that Congress Bridge, and every night they eat 10,000 to 30,000 pounds of insects. Isn't that cool? Anywho, that's what I learned about bats, was living in Austin. And there actually, I found out there are more. There's a cave in, it's kind of outside of San Antonio, which is where I went to high school. I'm gonna find this so I can tell y'all. Okay, Bracken Cave. It has the densest concentration of the Mexican free-tailed bats. So it's kind of near San Antonio, and their colonies can have over 20 million bats. It's so many bats. And they're so important because they eat insects and bad things that we don't like anyway. Okay, I'm gonna put some more color in here. So I'm grabbing a little bit of black, and I'm just making a little triangle here under his wing. And that's gonna make these light areas pop even more. So I'm just gonna add a little black. I'm not going all the way down, I'm going most of the way down. Gonna add some there, right there on the little V. Going to pull it out just a little bit, and let's do it right here as well. Okay, so I'm leaving some space, boop, boop, boop. And I'm just dropping some black in. Now this part of him, his little wings, they're pretty flat, so we're not going to put any fur in those areas, but in a little bit we are going to add some fur. Okay, I'm going to come over here, same thing. Right here at the top of the V, I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. Top of the V, a little bit darker. Now, I'm going to grab one more color here. All right, so this is that sand color I told you about. And if you don't have the sand, I want you to grab a little bit of brown. Okay, just a bit. What we're going to do is we're going to have a contrasting color. So I'm going to come here at the bottom of this crescent of his wing, and I'm just going to add in a little brown, and I'm going to extend it coming up towards that black that we just put in. I'm going to push them together, and then they're going to blend. And it'll just give him a little bit of nice variety of color. So I'm going to put this brown right here at the bottom and then blend it up to that black. And it'll blend in all by itself. Good job. Good job, paint. Same thing here. I'm going to do that for each of his little wings. And that would be because down here at the bottom is where it would be a little bit thinner, a little bit more transparent. And so we're just showing that transparency by having the color change a bit. Little bit of brown working its way up there, and then it blends in with that black that we just put in, which is all nice and wet. Okay, time for another color. Ready? I'm going to use this one that's called Foxberry. I absolutely love it. It is great for making little pink inside of ears. Guess what we're going to use it for? The pink inside of an ear, you're right. If you do not have Foxberry, and I don't think many of you do, I want you to use just a little bit of red. And I just want you to put a little tiny line right in there inside his ear on the part that would be closest to the other ear. So little curvy line, little curvy line. When I say closest to the other ear, so if this is his little ear here, this side, and if I was doing this ear, it would be that side. So the sides that would be closest to one another. All right, I have now rinsed off my paintbrush, and I'm just going to blend that out a little bit with some water. Not a lot of water, just a damp brush. I'm gonna let that dry. We're coming back to it. Okay. I'm gonna grab some more gray or black if you are using black. And I'm gonna make a little shadow here under his chin just by making little lines. Okay, and I'm gonna extend that down the side of his little body to give him a nice curvy shape. I'm gonna come over here on this side and also kind of make it a little more curvy. See that? We're just blending. Okay. So for this painting, we're gonna be piling up those little details. I want you to come down here and I want you to make his little leggies just a little darker. Just add another layer. Don't touch his tail though, because his tail is so far away from the perspective that we have right now that we want to let it be lighter. We're just blending, blend, blend, blend. Okay, while we are blending and the edges of his little body are wet, you can either use the tip of your brush if you are using a size 6, or let me get out my little teeny weeny brush. And I just want you to use a teeny bit of black. And we're just gonna do a few little wispies coming out. Not a lot, just a few. Just little wispy lines. Tiny curved lines. And that's gonna make him look a little bit more fuzzy. Just a few little curvy lines. Same thing as his little legs. So just off his belly, not big, you just keep them tiny. But you see how making just those teeny tiny little lines makes him look a little fuzzier? Guess where else he needs to be fuzzy? His little face. Okay, so I want to keep in mind this V shape. And I'm going to do little wispy lines. I'm going to leave his eyeballs alone. And I'm just doing little wispy lines. Little wispy lines, little wispy lines. Okay, so you can distinguish, right, where that little snoot is. We're leaving his little snoot alone. And I'm just doing a few little lines. Okay. Now with either the tip of your number 6 brush or the tip of your little tiny brush, I want you to outline that little snoot. That little eraser-sized circle that we did, okay? It's his little snooty, snooty snoot. I'm gonna put some fur coming out from the sides, not below it yet, but just the sides. And then I'm going to give this little piglet 2 little nostrils out of black. Okay, so we see where his little nostrils are, right? And I want you just right up here at the center, don't touch the nostrils, but just coming down. We're extending a few little lines, and that emphasizes that triangle face on his shape, the triangle shape on his face. See that little snoot? Oh, it's so cute, little snoot. Okay, don't worry right now, he doesn't look like, how do I say it? Before you put their eyeballs in, they don't look like they're gonna turn out right. I promise you they will. Okay, and I'm just adding a few little more lines. I want to leave that white so that his little snoot pops, okay? This little white undershade that we have, we're going to leave that. And let's add some more fur. Okay, I'm going to grab a tiny bit of black, and I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3 little lines. 2, 3. And you're just going to make these little bundles, 1, 2, 3, of little lines. 2, 3. They almost look like little paw prints, right? 1, 2, 3. And you don't have to do it all over his body. In fact, it's best if you don't, but I want you to have some, just a variety of little lines. And that's going to give him a little bit of a fur texture. 1, 2, 3. Maybe some on his belly. 3. He looks a little more fuzzy now, doesn't he? Little fuzzy dude. Okay. Is your pink dry? The pink in the ears that I painted is dry. So I'm gonna come and I'm gonna make his ears more fuzzy. Now, do you see how these little lines curve in? I'm gonna bring them up a little closer so you can see. That's what we're doing next. So I'm gonna come here to where we outlined his ear, and I'm going to do some little tiny curvy lines coming in, some little tiny curvy lines coming out, 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 out. Just tracing around that outline we already did to add in a little bit of black fur on his little ears. So these are the lines. I'm coming here from the edge and I'm coming inward, just teeny tiny lines. So we can still see some of that pink coming through. Oh, little fella with your fuzzy ears. He's so cute. He's very furry. So right now he kind of looks like he went through the dryer, doesn't he? Sweet boy. So if you want to kind of smooth some of that out, just use a damp brush. Smooth a little of it out. Not all of it. You want to have a lot of those fuzzies. But if you think he looks a little too fuzzy, you can just smooth it out. Little man with his fur. You just smooth if you want. Or not. You can decide he's perfect like he is, because he is perfect. Okay. Now, see how this is super bright white where his little bones are? But over here it's kind of gray. I want you to take your brush. Okay, I'm gonna use my number 6. I'm gonna get it wet. I'm not gonna put any paint on it, and we're just gonna kind of blend. Just getting it wet right over where that white is. This is gonna make it so that it has some color, but it is still much lighter than the surrounding areas. La 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 la. Look at that. Oh, so much better. Okay, and you can also kind of really carefully do that with a little white that's underneath the snoot, but just a tiny bit. You want it to be gray, but you don't want it to be to let all of that color blend in together. All right, guess what we get to do now? We're gonna make him look like he is alive. I'm gonna take my teeny tiny brush. You can also use a little Sharpie pen right now if you would rather, because we are gonna do his eyeballs, and sometimes that's tricky. What I'm gonna do is come in here and I'm just gonna use dots. And I'm gonna leave the center of his eyeball white, so he has a little gleam, a little glimmer of light. Same thing over here. And I'm just gonna fill in. I'm leaving a little bit of white space around the edge of his eyes. Boop, boop. Cute little man. So this one has eyes that are much bigger than that one. It's totally up to you. Either way is fine. If you decide that you think it's too big, you can just come in here, even it out a little bit. Or you can leave it and say, you know what, he's perfect, just like he is. I kind of like his big old eyes. He looks startled. And then what you're gonna do is sign your name, because you are done. Well done, everyone. And you're gonna take a picture, aren't you? Yes, you are. And you're gonna send it to me. Hooray, that makes me happy. Okay. I'm so proud of you. I hope that you are proud of you too. I can't wait to see what you guys have done. Okay, so I will see you right back here next Monday. Again, my name is Amy Pagan. This is Amy Pagan Art. And these are Mexican free-tail bats. And this is your Monday start to your week. I hope that it's a wonderful week. You guys take care. Come by and see me Thursday if you can. Get a ticket for that. If not, come out to the Love of Art and Cars. I'll see you there. Take care, you guys. Have a fantastic week. I'm waiting to hear from you. You guys take care. Bye.